We'll start with the prayers together. Om Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam
पर्यन्तं वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana
सहनौ भुनक्तु
Sahavirnam
सह वीर्यं
Karvavahai
करवावहै
Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvijavahai Om
ॐ
Shanti
शान्ति
Shanti
शान्ति
Shanti.
शान्तिः
Om Tat Sat. Om Namah
Om
Shivaya.
Tat Sat.
So I've just muted you all while I give you a brief introduction to the second chapter. We finished the first chapter in the last class, and I hope you have all done some sort of revision. Because that chapter laid down some fundamental principles. Of course, we have not come to Jnanam as yet. So that chapter talked basically about a few things which we need to keep in mind when we go on to the further chapters. So what are the things that we studied in the first chapter? Talked about the fundamental problem of samsara. We talked about the relationship between the teacher and the student, and a basic foundation was laid. It also, we saw the transition of Arjuna through various stages, and that is the transition which all of us go through in this discovery of spirituality, or in discovery of our own spiritual nature. What are those stages? We talked about samsara. We said it was raga, shoka, moha. So this is one of the first discoveries that a person makes, that he has a problem of samsara. The seeker usually goes through life being miserable. But the more discriminate seeker, he figures out that there is a problem that he has. And that problem is that of sorrow, is that of samsara. And the second stage is that the person tries to solve that problem by himself. So we saw this in the first chapter where Arjuna was trying to sort out the problem by himself. He has not yet, remember, asked Krishna for any help. So he is in the stage where he is still trying to sort out this problem by himself. And therefore we tend to blame the external world, we tend to blame the people around us, and we tend to blame the Lord for our problems. And there is a problem with this sort of an attitude, because if you consider that the external world is your problem, you will obviously try to address the problem through addressing the external world. You try to adjust the world, you try to change the world, you try to change the people around you, you try to change the external conditions around you. And then you find that all these efforts are not taking away your fundamental problem. Once that happens, then a realization comes that maybe my assumption that the problem is outside me, in the external world, is not correct. And therefore, the only other place where the problem can be is inside me. So when he finds this out, that the problem is inside me, this is the second stage. After having discovered that the problem is inside me, I discover that I am not able to solve that problem because it is inside me only, and I do not have the capacity to solve the problem. This is the second stage, which we called Karpanya Avastha. the avastha where I have understood the problem is not within the external world, it is within me only. And at this stage, I am not able to sort it out, and therefore I am helpless. And therefore, being helpless, I come to the third stage, which is Sharanagati. I take help from outside. And remember that admitting to myself that I am not able to sort out the problem, this requires a lot of intellectual honesty. It requires a lot of humility also. It requires the ability to objectively look at oneself. It's not very easy at all, because the one thing where we have very strong raga is your own self. To put that raga aside, to objectively look at yourself, requires a lot of emotional maturity. And once having admitted that I am not able to sort out this issue, what is the next stage? I have to take help from outside. This is called Sharanagati. And therefore, one goes to a teacher. This is the actual pursuit of spiritual knowledge. He goes to the teacher, he asks for knowledge. This is the fourth stage. So these four stages are the milestones which every spiritual seeker comes across. And we saw in the first chapter that Arjuna has gone through the first stage. He has discovered raga, shoka, moha, but he has not yet discovered the helplessness. So he is still in the first stage. He thinks he has a solution for that problem. And what is his solution? His solution is to throw away the bow and the arrow and then run away from the battle. Okay, that is a solution that he has thought of. And the whole second half of the first chapter, he was telling Krishna how bad it was to fight the war, and that he would rather not fight and he would rather get killed. And therefore he says, as Sanjay says, Eva Muktva Arjuna Sankhe Ratopasta Upavishata Visrajya Shasharam Chapam Shoka Samvigna Manasaha. He has thrown away his bow and arrow, and he's sitting in the chariot and saying that I am not going to fight. So he thinks that is the solution. Now the thing is that if he really thought that was the solution, would he not have just walked away from the battlefield? But some corner of his mind, there is something which tells him that, hey Arjuna, you are a Kshatriya. Your job is to fight for dharma. And therefore, here again, it illustrates one very important part of our spiritual journey. First, there is an understanding that something is wrong. And then there is a wrong decision. So this is the wrong decision that he has taken, that I will not fight. And that is a solution to the problem. That wrong decision Arjuna has taken is indicated by his sitting on the chariot and telling Krishna, I will not fight. But he's not going away from the battlefield. It's indicating that there is some small doubt somewhere in some corner of Arjuna's mind. What I am doing, is it really correct? And that is because of Arjuna's conscience, which is telling him that, hey Arjuna, you are a Kshatriya. Your job is to fight. And therefore, from this wrong decision, Arjuna comes to a stage of samshayam. Is my decision correct? So this is a very big, progress from a wrong decision coming to doubt whether I have taken a correct decision. That itself is a great progress, because if you are sure that your decision is correct, then you will implement it. Whether it is wrong or right is immaterial, because you think it is correct and therefore you will implement it. But if you think that your decision may not be correct, then at least you will want to take help. So this is the very nature of progress. Viprayaya to samshaya to jnana. The technical words. Viparyaya. Viparyaya is what? It is caused by tamoguna. Viparaya is the incorrect decision. That is the inability to think clearly and therefore taking a incorrect decision. Viparaya. Tamoguna pradhana. Then there is, you slowly activate your mind, because Arjuna is basically Kshatriya. Kshatriya is Rajoguna dominant. And therefore that Tamoguna part of him which has taken over right now slowly gives way to Samshaya. So Viparyaya to Samshaya. Samshaya is Rajoguna Pradhanam. And from Rajoguna Pradhanam, he goes to Jnanam, which is Sattva Guna Pradhanam. So this is the progress in our spiritual path also. Viparyaya to Samshaya to Jnanam. Tamoguna to Rajoguna to Sattvaguna. This is the story of every seeker. So with this background, we will enter into the second chapter. So please unmute yourself.
Om Acharya.
Yes, please.
Who is Sanjaya?
Sanjaya is the person who is the king's advisor, Dhritarashtra's advisor. He has the what is known as divine vision. So from there he is able to see what is happening in the battlefield and is giving the commentary on the battle to the king, Dhritarashtra.
Acharya, I have one doubt.
Yeah.
And I would like to know how it is applicable in our life. Arjuna, right at the beginning, he knew with whom he has to fight. It was very clear who are in the opposite side.
Yes.
And who are in his side. And with all this knowledge, he is preparing for the war. And such a big forces have been deployed.
Yeah.
So knowing very well with whom he has to fight, why this moh is coming when already Biguls are over? Bigul is starting of the war.
Yeah, but you must know where he is standing. He is standing in front of whom?
His masters.
He knew that he knew
Dronacharya.
that he is to fight with Pitama,
His
with
masters.
Dronacharya. It is not that he didn't know.
See,
While
the thing of knowing something and the finality of knowing it are two different things, okay?
so how in our life it comes?
It comes very often in our lives.
That
You
same
think you
thing
can handle a
happens, we don't
situation.
worry.
Yeah, you think you can handle a situation. And then
Sometimes we don't worry and sometimes it just pinches our heart and we start
that is
realizing.
exactly what the raga is all about. If you are able to look at a thing objectively, you will take a correct decision. If you allow raga to interfere, a decision will be wrong. So this is the raga which has caused all these problems. That is what is being conveyed in the first chapter. The moment raga comes in, issues will start. Okay.
Om Acharya.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this whole conversation is been happening between Arjuna and Krishna. So is Sanjaya watching it and then telling Dhritarashtra is all about the Bhagavad Gita, right?
Sanjaya is actually telling Dhritarashtra what all is happening in the battlefield.
Right.
Okay, the whole war, including
yes,
Krishna's talk, is being conveyed to Sanjaya, to Dhritarashtra by Sanjaya.
So this whole Bhagavad Gita is the explanation to Dhritarashtra. Like Arjuna is saying like this, Krishna is saying.
Yeah,
like
it's being explained to him.
Okay.
Okay. Right.
Thank you.
But remember that wherever Sanjaya is not being mentioned, that is Vyasacharya's words. Okay. Wherever Sanjaya talks, is very specifically mentioned Sanjaya.
Okay. So is Sanjaya is particularly that person's name or any
No,
king's
Sanjaya is the
advisor
name
called
of the
Sanjaya?
advisor to the king, who has got Divya Drishti, because Dhritarashtra wanted to see the war and he could not go because he's blind. So Sanjaya is explaining the whole thing. Sanjaya is his eye, basically. Dhritarashtra's eyes are Sanjaya.
Raviji,
Okay.
Yeah.
we hear that Vyasacharya is also an avatar of Krishna, so there is no transmission loss there. But is there transmission loss when Sanjaya is talking?
Sanjaya's talk is very, if you look at the thing, there is no teaching being conveyed to Sanjaya. Sanjaya says, I've heard. But what the entire teaching is not Sanjaya. Look at whatever Sanjaya's
think-
verses are, they're only
I think
incidental
it-
verses.
It's like commentary. Match is happening somewhere. Somebody is watching that and then giving commentary to us.
Yeah, the Sanjaya can be the commentator, but Vyasacharya is the seer. He is sitting in the chair or in those gallery, wherever.
But did he not tell all this to Dhritarashtra? Like even the teaching part of it?
If you look at the words, he should have repeated the whole thing. That is what it says. But it is not the Bhagavad Gita is not Sanjaya Uvacha. Don't get that. Bhagavad Gita is Vyasacharya Uvacha.
Yeah.
Okay, that should be very clear. Sanjaya's portion is only incidental. And that is why specifically it is mentioned Sanjaya.
Mm.
To think that Sanjaya is the one who told you the whole, that is a very, very wrong concept.
Okay.
It is Vyasa Uvacha, the entire Gita.
Sanjay is only looking at the war and narrating to king what is
Remember,
happening.
Sanjaya Uvacha is also Vyasa Uvacha, okay?
Mm.
Vyasacharya is saying Sanjaya Uvacha.
Right.
Right.
All right, so let us go back to the third chapter. We'll chant it. So please unmute yourself.
Second chapter.
Second chapter.
Second chapter.
Second chapter.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha.
Om
Shri Ramani Namaha.
अथ द्वितीयोऽध्यायः
अथ द्वितीयोऽध्यायः
संजय उवाच
सञ्जय उवाच
तं तथा कृपयाविष्ठम्
तं तथा कृपयाविष्टम्
अश्रुपूर्णाकुलेक्षणम्
अश्रुपूर्णाकुलेक्षणम्
विषीदन्तमिदं वाक्यम्
विषीदन्तमिदं वाक्यम्
उवाच मधुसूदनः
उवाच मधुसूदनः
Okay, so I'm just muting you all. First, we look at the grammar portion. So Sanjaya Uvacha Tam Tatha Kripaya Vrish. So that word has to be broken up. Kripaya, there are two avagrahas. So what is it going to be?
Vipaya and Avishtam.
Every avagraha is one So there's two avas. So it's Kripaya Avishtam.
Avishtam.
It's not Kripaya Avishtam. It's Kripaya Avishtam. Then Ashru Purna Kulekshanam.
Kulekshanam.
Ashru Purna Kulekshanam. Then Visidantam plus Idam. Visidantam Idam Vakyam Uvacha Madhusudhanaha. And if you are looking at the Anvaya, it is Sanjaya Uvacha. Sanjaya said, Hey Sanjaya said, Madhusudanaha. Madhusudana has got a visarga to it, so it becomes the subject. Madhusudanaha tam tatha kripaya avishtam. So this tam refers to whom? Arjuna. To Arjuna. Tam is to Arjuna. Madhusudanaha tam, you can put in brackets, Arjunam. Tatha kripaya avishtam. Ashru purna. So you can break that word up further. Ashru plus purna plus akula plus ikshanam. Ashru purna akula ikshanam. Visidantam idam vakyam uvacha. So Sanjaya uvacha. Sanjaya said. And Madhusudanaha, Krishna. Madhusudanaha, tam to. Tam means usko, to him. Madhusudana said to him. Madhusudana uvacha, to whom? Tam, to Arjuna. And Tam Arjuna's description is given. Tatha kripaya avishtam ashrupurnam. Who was kripaya, by compassion or pity, avishtam, was overcome by, to that Arjuna, so tam tatha kripaya avishtam. That Arjuna who was overcome by compassion or pity, and Ashru Purnam. Ashru is the eyes, Purnam is, or the tears. Ashru Purnam, Akulam Ikshanam. Eyes full of tears. Ashru Purnam, Akulam Ikshanam. Eyes full of tears. And Vishidantam, who was sad. So all these are Visheshanams, all these are adjectives for what? For Tam. Tam is Arjuna. To that Arjuna, Madhusudanaha, Uvacha, he said, what? Idam Vakyam, the following words. Okay.
What
Now,
does Kulekshanam mean here?
I'm coming to that. We'll do it in a bit more detail. Okay. So if you look at the words, look at the breakup of the words. Sanjay said, to whom Sanjay said, Tam, that Arjuna, who was Vishidantam, sad, and Tatha, in this manner, Avishtam, overcome, Kripaya, by compassion, and Ikshanam is the eyes. We'll do a more detailed breakup of this when we actually talk about it. So just take it for right now. Eyes filled with tears, and who was showing signs of distress. So he said to that Arjuna, Madhusudana Uvacha Idam Vakyam, spoke the following words. So remember that Arjuna had, in the entire first chapter, he had unburdened his whole mind by talking. Krishna had not said anything. Arjuna had just talked a lot. He was, expressing what all he was feeling. Then he threw away the bow and the arrow. Then he sat down. The heart was full of sorrow. And so far, Krishna has not said anything. Because Arjuna has not sought any help, so Krishna did not speak. And these words, Tam Tatha Kripaya Avishtam, it indicates what? The condition of a Ajnani, of a Samsari. Kripaya Avishtha. Remember, normally the word Kripa means compassion. But here it means attachment. So Kripa should not be translated as compassion. You will find in most books, it's translated either as pity or compassion. But Shankara makes it clear that it is to be translated as attachment. Why is that so? Because compassion is a positive virtue, and normally compassion is for jnanis only. Attachment is a weakness. It's for an ajnani. And here obviously Arjuna is an ajnani, and it is his weakness here. This negativity which he is having, that is being indicated by the word kripa. It should not be translated as compassion, but we should take it as attachment. Avishtam, the next word, overpowered by. By what? That attachment. Remember that if I am compassionate towards somebody, I am the master. If I am attached to somebody, I am the slave, because the attachment is the master. Okay, this is the difference. And that attachment has led to Ashru Purna Akula Ikshanam. So you have to break that into 4 words. Ashru plus Purna plus Akulam plus Ikshanam. So the words are fairly clear. At least 3 of them are. Ikshanam is what? Eyes. Ashru is what? Tears. Purna is what? Full. Now, akulam is an adjective describing the state of eyes which are filled with tears. Ashru Purna Ikshanam. Eyes filled with tears. What will be the condition of eyes filled with tears?
Distressed, sad,
No,
very
vision is
agitated,
Blurred
very
vision,
agitated,
blurred
very
vision.
agitated.
No, somebody said it correctly. The vision
Blurred
is blurred.
vision.
blurred vision.
Blurred vision. So akulam is indicating blurred vision. See the beauty of the language. Ashru Purna Akula Ikshanam. With eyes which were blurred because of Ashru Purna. Because of fear, full of tears. So it represents what? It represents that when we are, upset, when we have strong emotions, which are present in our mind, what is your vision? It is not clear. Because a strong emotion obstructs the working of your buddhi. That is also one representation here. Ashrupurna Akulaishanam. Not just that Arjuna could not see because of eyes filled with tears, but that you should not have this condition also. So Kripaya Vishtham, overcoming by Kripaya, represents what? Raga. Right? Ashrupurnam represents Shoka. And hence only Vishidantam. Vishada is grief. And therefore he was sorrowful. So in front of Lord Krishna. And he talked, how do we know we are sorrowful? Because in the last chapter he said, Siddhanti mam gatrani mukhamcha parashushati. He says, my hands and legs are shivering, I cannot even stand. So right now, even Krishna does not teach. Why does he not teach?
Because his vision is not going to be clear, perhaps.
Because his
He is
mind
not
is,
in a receptive
Understanding becomes blurred too.
he is not in a receptive state. His mind is completely disturbed. There is no point teaching Vedanta to somebody who is crying. For Vedanta, you require a mind which is quiet, a mind which is receptive. And therefore, Krishna does not teach. But Krishna is his friend. Okay. So Krishna does not want to continue not to talk, because then Arjuna might feel that this fellow is not interested in me at all. So what did he do? Madhusudana. Madhusudana is Krishna. Idam Vakyam Avach. Okay. So Madhusudana, remember, Madhu, one interpretation is that Madhu is honey, very sweet to you. What is very sweet to you? Your Ahankara. So Madhusudana can be taken as the destroyer of Ahankara. And Ahankara is taken as a demon here. Therefore, the one whose grace destroys the Ahankara, destroys the Rakshasa called Ahankara, that is Madhusudanaha. Idam Vakyam. The Vakyam is normally a sentence, can be taken as a group of words also. And therefore, Krishna began to speak a few words to Arjuna. Right? So far, Arjuna has been talking and Krishna is listening. Now, Krishna wants to say that, hey Arjuna, don't think that, just because I have not been saying anything, I have not been listening. I have been listening. You are my friend. I want to help you. And so as to prevent any misconception in Arjuna's mind, Krishna begins to talk, but he does not teach. He is only talking. He is only having a conversation. So we will chant the second verse. So this is the first verse where Krishna is beginning to talk. So please unmute yourself. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Kutastva Kashmalamidam. Vishame Samupasthitam. Anarya Jushtama Swargyam. Anarya Jushtamaswargyam. Akirtikaram Arjuna. So you must chant each word very clearly, and that is why I keep on telling you that please go to the chanting classes, because without that you will find that you may be able to understand in the class, but there will be no retention at all. You will hear, but you will not be remembering at all. Because it's necessary for the words to be there, the chanting should be very clear. So if you have anybody of you not in the chanting class, you please join the classes. There are 3 every week. I'm sure it will be of great help. Okay. So we look at the grammar part again. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha Kutastva Kashmalamidam Vishame Sam Upasthitam Anayajustham Aswargyam Akirti Karam Arjuna. So in some of the books, you may have Anayajustham Aswargyam Akirti, that all joined together. So the breakup is important. We will look at that. It is Kutaha Twa. The half sa, kutas, the half sa is a joiner because of the sandhi rule. When you break it, the sa, half sa goes away, and you get kutaha, kuta visarga, twa, kashmalam idam, vishame sam upasthitam, anarya jushtham, aswargyam, akirti karam Arjuna. Okay. So, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. So, we will come to that. Bhagavan is a very important word. We'll come to that later. Uvacha. Bhagavan said. Kutaha. Kutaha is from where? In the sense of from what or from where. Twa. Twa is you. Kashmalam. Kashmalam is despair or depression. Idam, this. Vishame. Vishame is a word meaning crisis, a difficult time. Visham, Vishame. Sam upasthitam. Sam upasthitam means that which has come. Jo aa gaya hai. Sam upasthitam, in front of you it has come. Upasthitam, to come near. Sam plus upa plus tha. If grammar student, sam plus upa plus tha, to come near. Then anarya jushtham. Anarya. Arya is a noble person. Anarya is not a noble person. Jushtham means appropriate or fit for. So anarya jushtham means not fit for a noble person. So na arya jushtham iti anarya jushtham. That which is not appropriate for a arya, for a noble person, that is anarya jushtham. Aswargyam. Now here remember, Swargyam is the means to go to Swarga. Swargyam means that sadhana which can take you to Swarga. Aswargyam means that which is not the sadhana to take you to Swarga. Aswargyam. Then akirti karam. Karam is action. Akirti is something which is not good for good name. Kirti is the good name or fame. Akirti means not good name, infamy. Akirti karam, that kind of action which is not good for you, which will drag your name in the mud. Okay, so, hey Arjuna, these are the words. I think I covered all of them individually. Yes. Now look at the Anvaya, the sentences. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. The Lord or Sri Bhagavan said. What did he say? Hey Arjuna, Vishame. in this difficult time. What difficult time? In the middle of the battlefield, when the conches have already been blown, you should be fighting. You should be being full of energy. But you are not. You are sitting depressed. And therefore, hey Arjuna, Vishame, in this difficult time, hey Arjuna, Kutaha idam kashmalam. From where has this despair, from where has the depression, some upastitam, come to you? So, hey Arjuna, Vishame, in this difficult time, Kutaha idam kashmalam sam upastitam. Where has this despair come to you, O Arjuna? Where has this depression come to you, O Arjuna? From where? Cannot where, whereas from where has this depression come to you? This emotion of depression come to you, hey Arjuna. And then he describes Kashmalam. The rest are the adjectives for Kashmalam. What are they? Anarya Jushtam, that which is not appropriate behavior for a noble person, for a Kshatriya. And Aswargyam, that which is not the sadhana for going to Swarga. And a Kirtikaram, that which will not add to your good name, should not add to your Kirti. All the three are Visheshanam to which word?
Kashmalam.
To Kashmalam. So always remember that words are never used without meaning. All are Visheshanam to Kashmalam. Saying that Kashmalam is not good for you here, hey Arjuna. What are you doing over here? So in this verse, Krishna is very, very strongly criticizing Arjuna. And normally you don't find Krishna using very strong words in the Bhagavad Gita at all. But here he is very strongly criticizing. So he says Kashmalam. Kashmalam is mental impurity. And that impurity is present in all of us. And especially in these troubling times, you know. In these troubling times, like we are now under the wave of the second wave of the COVID. And you as Vedantic students may not really experience too much. But all around you, you can see depression, rejection, frustration. Things which should not be there because they don't help you at all. Dealing with the current situation is just an action. You have to do what is necessary. That is all that requires to be done. Getting emotional about it, being dejected about it, being frustrated about it has no meaning at all. So that's what Krishna is saying. In this battlefield, Arjuna, you should be fighting. Instead of what? Dejection, depression, frustration is there. You are a courageous person, Arjuna. You should not be afraid of anybody or anything. Because why? Look at the past. Arjuna has fought great warriors like Bhishma. And single-handedly won the war also. In fact, there is also a story where Arjuna fights with Lord Shiva. Of course, being Lord Shiva obviously is not defeated. But Lord Shiva is impressed with Arjuna's fighting power. And he gives him a special astra, special weapon also. So Krishna is saying, you are such an Arjuna who has defeated even warriors like Bhishma. You have won the war single-handed also. You have fought with Lord Shiva also. And what are you doing now? You are crying. You are in the middle of a battlefield. The battlefield is not the time to cry. And therefore, Vishame Samupastitam, at this wrong place and wrong time, at the most difficult time of which we Kauravas and Pandavas are facing, Anarya Jushtam, you are an Arya Purusha, you are a noble person. These kind of emotions cannot come to you. It should not be coming to you. And for us, it is very important to know the word Arya. What does it mean? Very commonly used in history books. That's what I'm asking.
The Aryan talks about the Aryan race.
Learned.
And the Aryan race is come from where?
Germany.
From the west, from the central steps.
Right. So that is the common meaning, right? And that is all rubbish, says Krishna, because there is a meaning for the term Arya. So there is a description. Is kartavyam acharan karma, akartavyam anacharan, tishtati prakrita chare, sahavaha Arya iti smritaha. This is the definition of Arya. Okay. What are they? I explained to you. Kartavyam acharan karma. I will request you all not to unmute yourself. It disturbs the recording. So kartavyam acharan karma. A person, kartavyam means that which has to be done. Kartavyam karma acharan. That person does it. He does what is to be done without murmuring, without grumbling. He does whatever is pleasant, whatever is unpleasant, he does. Because sometimes your duties are happy duties, pleasant duties. Sometimes they're unpleasant and painful also. So, kartavyam acharan karma. The person who never divides the duties into pleasant or unpleasant. Duty is duty. What is to be done has to be done. And one who does that falls under the definition of kartavyam acharan karma. He does it without giving room for likes and dislikes. He does it because it is to be done. That person is the Aryan, not somebody who came from Germany, okay, or from the West, or who has fair skin, or tall. That is all the story given by the history books. Now, akartavyam anacharan. Just like he does what is to be done without giving room to likes and dislikes, akartavyam anacharan. He also does not do what is not to be done. However tempting it is, however attractive it is, if it is not to be done, he does not do. Therefore, the one who does what is proper and does not do what is proper, not based on likes and dislikes, but based on what is correct and what is incorrect. He is a Aryan. Then, tishtati prakrita chare. Prakrita achare. So one who lives the life of achara. Achara. Achara is what? Discipline. The one who leads a disciplined life. Tishtati prakrita chare. He lives a disciplined life. Sahavaha, that person indeed. Arya iti smritaha. Such a cultured person is called an Arya. It does not matter whether you came from Germany or not. It does not matter whether you got fair skin or dark skin. It does not matter whether you are short or tall. What it matters is whether you are doing your duty in the way it is supposed to be done. If you try to escape from your duty, you are an Arya, not an Arya. And this is what Krishna is saying. Hey Arjuna, you are an Aryan. Behave like one. I'm just going to mute all of you all with no option to unmute yourself because somebody is continuously unmuting herself or himself. Okay. Okay. So if you try to escape from your duty, you are anarya. And hence the reference to Arjuna. Okay. So he says, anarjushtam kashmalam. Adharmik. You are not only not fit to be Aryan, it is not a dharmic thing that you are doing. And aswargyam. That aswargyam has to be understood properly. I said it was a sadhana to get you to Swarga. What does sadhana, how do you get to Swarga? Only if you have sufficient punyam. So any sadhana which you do for taking to Swarga, it generates punyam. And Shastra says, if you have sufficient punyam, then only can you go to Swarga. So aswargyam here means that which can never give you punya phalam. It is adharmik, and therefore it will give you only papam. It will never give you punyam, and therefore aswargam. You will not be able to go to Swarga because you have no punyam generated from that action. That is the meaning of asvargyam. Then akirti karam Arjuna. Not only will it not give you swarga while you're after death, of course, it will not give you swarga, but there is a problem while you're alive also. It will not give you good name. It will give you only ill fame. Akirti karam. So not only will you not get punyam, you will also lose your fame. There will be no fame also. Okay, now I'm unmuting. I'm allowing you to unmute yourself. If any question is there, you can ask.
So,
Ravi ji.
will Aswarga be equal to Naraka? Is that different?
No. Aswarga means that action which is not giving you punyam, which will give you papa.
Raviji, could
Yeah.
you just once again completely define Arya, Kartavyam, Acharam, Karmam?
Okay, okay.
Please.
Kartavyam acharan karma,
Hmm.
akartavyam anacharan.
Okay.
Tishtati prakritaachare saha vaha aryaha iti smritaha.
Saha Vaha Aryaha iti
Iti
smrita.
smritaha. Smritaha, it is said so.
Okay. Thank you, Ji.
Okay. So that is the definition of Aryan. And now you should discard the idea you have about Aryans being invaders. All noble people who stick to their duty are called Aryans. So that is why all the race of Kshatriyas were called Aryans.
Where are you quoting that from, sir?
I don't know the exact source of this. It's one of those subhashitams, which come.
Sir, can you post it on the group, please?
Yeah, I'll do that later.
Sir,
Yeah,
you said Bhagavan has a specific meaning. So
we'll
please
come to
can
that. We'll come to that.
Okay,
That's
thank
somewhere along the line we will come to that. Because there's a flow which I am following. So
Okay, sir.
somewhere in the flow it will come. Okay. Any question? All right. I think we have time for one more verse. So let us look at the third verse. Please unmute yourself and we can chant it. Klaibyam smagamaf partha. There's a visarga, so it becomes pa. Okay. Klaibyam smagamaf partha. Naitattvai upapadhyate. Naitattvai upapadhyate. Shudram hridaya daurbalyam. Tyaktvotishtha parantapa. Okay, I have muted you all. I'll unmute you once the discussion is over. So, Klaibyam ma sma gamaha partha. Then that compound word, the last one, has to be broken up carefully. Na etat tvai upapadyate. Na etat tvai upapadyate. In chanting, it is pronounced as naitvat tvai upapadyate. Naitvat tvai upapadyate. Then Shudram hridaya daurbalyam tyaktva. That second last word of the second line, tyaktva utishtha. Tyaktvotashtha is tyaktva utishtha parantapa. So Klaibyam. Klaibyam is non-manliness, not having the quality of a man. So that is of a purusha, of a male. That is Klaibyam. Ma, remember in Sanskrit, ma is no, do not. Sma has no particular meaning, It's one of those participles used for emphasis. So here you can say sma means indeed. So ma, sma, gamaha. Gamaha means to get or to go. Then Partha, of course, son of Pritha. Hey Partha, Pritha Putraha is Partha. Na is again no. Etat is this, from the same pronoun etad. So etat, this. Tvai, tum me, in you. Upapadyate is fit for. Shudram is taken as Shudra, so the lowest, referring of course to Shudra caste, but here being it is a very lowly emotion to have, not fit for a Kshatriya. That is what he's saying. Hridaya Daurbalyam. Daurbalyam is weakness. Hridaya is heart. So Hridaya Daurbalyam, weakness of heart. So Durbalyasya Bhavaha is Daurbalyam. And Hridayasya Daurbalyam is Hridaya Daurbalyam. Tyaktva means having given up. Uthishta, stand up. Parantapa, a vanquisher of enemies. Basically, it means one who burns up his enemies. So Param Tapayati iti Parantapaha. The one who burns up his enemies is Parantapaha. Now look at the Anvaya. He Partha. Ma Smagamaha Klaibyam. So Gamaha generally means go to. Gamati, go to. But also can mean going means getting something. So it can mean getting. So here he is saying, Hey Partha, ma gamaha klaibyam. Do not take on this non-manly quality. Do not become non-manly. Ma sma gamaha. Sma is indeed do not become. Please do not become unmanly. Please do not get this emotion. And why etat? Etat here refers to klaibyam. That non-manliness, tvai nopapadyate, it is not fit for you. It does not befit you. Tvai na upapadyate. That is sentence number 2. Sentence number 3 is, Hey Paranthapa, O vanquisher of enemies, Tyaktva Shudram, give up this weakness of your heart. Tyaktva Shudram Hridaya Daurbalyam. So Shudram here is this demeaning or low. Tyaktva Shudram Hridaya Daurbalyam, give up this demeaning weakness of the heart. And what should you do? Uthishtaha, stand up for Arjuna. So, Hey Partha, son of Pritha. Pritha Putra is Partha. So, Pritha is another name for Kunti. Prithaya Kuntiya Putra Kaunteya. The one who is the son of Pritha is Partha, also called Kaunteya because he is son of Kunti. Then Klaibyam Mas Magamah. So Klaibyam means one who is a eunuch. And here it is not physically meaning, we have to refer to it as the mental state of a eunuch, which is non-manliness. The manly quality here is taken as the one who is capable of taking courageous decisions. The one who does not run away when the crisis comes. So may you not become like that, hey Arjuna. He says, why? Because etat, that quality, that state of mind, tvai na upapadyate, it does not suit you. Because Arjuna, you are known for your courage. You have fought Shiva himself. It does not befit your status as a great warrior. Therefore, tvai na upapadyate. And therefore, what should you do? Hridaya daurbalyam tyakva. Throw away this mental weakness, which is Shudram, which is very lowly weakness, which is a disgrace for you. It's a very low quality, not meant to be found in people like you. Give it up. And what should you do? Uthishta. First, Arjuna, get up. you have to start to fight. But for you right now, it seems like even getting up is a problem. And therefore, first, Arjuna, you get up, then you lift up your bows and arrows, and then we'll think about what to do. Hey, Parantapa, scorcher of enemies, destroyer of enemies, get up and get ready to fight. Remember here, in these words, what is Krishna doing? He is reminding Arjuna, hey Arjuna, you are not a sannyasi, you are a Kshatriya. You have a duty. That duty is of protecting your people and the nation. And therefore, do what you have to do, Arjuna. One of the most important teachings of Krishna. We'll find this in chapter 3 also. Do what is to be done. That doing what is to be done is very important for a Kshatriya, for a Grahastha. So here the foundation of Karma Yoga is being laid. So Krishna is addressing Arjuna. But here remember that he is not come to Jnanam at all. No wisdom is being given here. He's telling first Arjuna, let us do what is to be done. Then only we can talk about knowledge. When a person is unable to do his own duties, where is the question of getting Jnanam at all? Therefore here, actually he is not even begun to teach Karma Yoga. He is not begun to teach Upasana Yoga. He is not begun to teach Jnanam. These three are the main foundations of the Gita. But here he is just using strong words to ensure that Arjuna becomes active. Some amount of Rajoguna Arjuna you should show. And why does Krishna not teach Gita here? We have to understand. So far, Arjuna has not come to Krishna and said, please teach me. He has not surrendered, which means he is not prepared to listen. Another very important teaching for all of us. Do not give advice when the other person is not ready to receive. Only when the other person is in the receptive state, then only you can give advice or give knowledge. Any transaction requires one receiver and one giver. You may be ready to give, but if the other person is not ready to receive, then your advice is going to get wasted. And as all of us, especially those who are married, we know the most difficult thing in life is what? To make somebody else listen to you. Okay, so with this, I'll stop. Any questions? Otherwise, we'll close for the day. I'll just unmute you all one. Yeah, those who want to talk can unmute themselves.
Aviji, it's not a question. The definition of Arya you said, I checked in it. It says it.
Sorry?
It's from Yoga Vasishta.
From Yoga Vasishta. Okay, fine. Great.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
Sir, as correctly said by Krishna, that do what is to be done. But many a times we don't understand what is to be done. So how do we get a clarity in that?
Usually, if you are objective, every situation will reveal to yourself what is to be done. But if not, then you should either speak to your, the Gita itself says that keep Shastram as your pramanam for what is to be done and what is not to be done. The 16th chapter, Gita, Krishna will say, what is to be done and what is to be done, not done is given in the Shastram itself. So keep that as your guidelines.
If there is a confusion, better surrender to your mentor.
If there is a confusion, go to the teacher.
So,
yeah.
Is the definition of the Arya applicable to everybody in the Varna system? Like even if a Shudra is doing his job well, and is he also an Arya?
Yeah, see the system of the Varna system, as again we'll discuss in one of the chapters, is basically a classification according to your abilities and according to your guna. So guna karma is the basis for classification. There is no reason why Arya cannot apply there. Okay. No questions.
So here Krishna is only motivating Arjuna first to stand up.
Yeah.
He's bold enough. He's just motivating him to stand up.
So that's what I said, from tamas to rajas. That is the first step.
Yes.
When somebody who is very tamasic is in front of you, you cannot even make him do anything. You can't give him meditation. You have to first make him active. So the first job of a teacher is to bring some amount of rajas into the person, and then only can you go to sattva. So tamas to rajas to sattva is a normal spiritual journey.
Then only he will be receptive.
Yeah, rajas is okay, mind is getting active. Then it has to get sattvic. Then he will be receptive.
Sir,
Yeah.
did you say that anybody who is married will know how difficult it is to make somebody listen?
That's a joke anyway. It's very difficult for you to make your spouse listen usually.
Well, that's true of all relationships.
No, children usually listen to you until such time as they grow up, and then they don't. Then you can't do much about that. Because there are some kids who don't listen to you from day one. That is also there. But in any case, the point here was that if you are trying to give advice, make sure the person you are giving to wants to listen. Otherwise, you are wasting your time and energy. And this is one of the most important things in any relationship, because we are all fond of giving advice. And if the other person doesn't want to listen, there are two problems. One is that he is not going to listen anyway. Another is that he might become resentful and therefore avoid. Okay, so with this we'll stop. Thank you. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat.
Thank you so much, Abhijit.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so